Hey, how's it going? Gotta turn this down. So yeah, hey, how's it going? I'm back. I needed to take a little break. I was getting a little bit, or a lot of bit, overstimulated. Too much information for my little brain. So I took a week, and I didn't go anywhere. I was still here doing the same things, except I went on a viewing diet, I guess you could say. A fast, if you will. And I still haven't returned to... Oh, well, the fast that I took was from all of the videos from the ETs. They produce a lot of videos in a day between two channels. And because so much is happening so fast, again, I'm going to stick to the United States, but I can see that similar things are happening around the world, where in countries the public is not pleased with the political leadership, and there's upheaval and uprising and all of that type of thing. So we have our mess here that's unique to us, that, I'm sorry, we're just nasty and disgusting, and we don't bathe well, and we don't regulate for safety concerns, so we're kind of filthy and disgusting right now. I feel like, in the worldview. I definitely am perceiving it that way. It's like, what? Yeah. But, that, is per usual, actually, so... But the thing is, I just really wanted to just let my brain have a little less going on. Enter a few less, put a few less entries in for a while. So I did that, and I was feeling like, I feel better, I'm wondering now, I don't want to go away from watching those videos, because they're really informative about what's going on sort of under the surface, behind the scenes. Anonymous, I can't watch too much of them either for the same reason, but they kind of come from the fear column, where the ETs stay pretty much they just stay in the light column, in the happiness and joy. Although that's not to say that they're just all they're not a cartoon. It's not just unicorns and lollipops. They talk about serious stuff, but it's the delivery. For instance, I was watching a Anonymous official channel today. There's multiple anonymous channels, but the official one is the most hardcore. So I click on this video, and it's talking about how the biometric data and surveillance and information collection and they are reporting on it, but it just comes across sounding very sinister. And I would have been inclined to go along with that feeling that it was sinister, except that it sounds almost identical to what the ETs are saying, talking about the quantum financial system, which we're going to transition to, which I'm pretty sure it sounded like from both of those sources that is taking place, the transition right now. So, but you're not going to find people talking about that on the news. You might find it in places that I don't really know about, maybe Discord or Reddit, or maybe the dark web. There are people talking about this that know that behind the scenes things are happening, even though what everyone can see freely and in full view in public looks like anything but positive anything happening. And I'm still trying to reckon with the fact that, you know, at least with the QAnons that I knew and the MAGAs now, they love Trump. And especially now, he's not behaving in a way that I think is very lovable. I mean, the man is hard to tolerate on a regular day, so I understand he's got a lot of stress happening now. There's a lot of things that he's doing that they make sense in a certain way when you think of him as this selfish, uncaring, evil kind of person that he sure appears to be. And then, you know, he's supposed to be this completely other person when dealing with, like, these same ETs that I always talk about, which would be the Pleiadians, or, you know, there's other ones, but the ones that are, like, here physically, such as they are, because they're not real, there's a lot of presence that's not physical. But the Pleiadians have long, like, they're sort of the stewards of this planet. They were here when there was not really life, and then after that, I should say, when life had, like, a cell, and that was, you know, all there was for a long time. They've been here a long time. Which, you're not going to see this on the news either, but governments know about it. Ours certainly does. And there have been leaks over the years that it's coming out now which things are credible and which things are not that have leaked. And things that are credible come out and it just, like, doesn't make a dent. Like, no one notices or no one cares. So, like, I feel like a transition happened there where it's just like people are just like, yeah, okay, sure, Eisenhower shook hands with the ET. He had a meeting. Everyone knows about it. Oh, okay, I guess everyone knows. So no big deal, I guess. More, I think, has happened since that came out. Like, I'm talking about something I learned about, like, 10 years ago. So over that time, more disclosures of that type, or more people becoming aware of that type of thing being alleged, you know. That photo, however, it could be doctored, certainly it could have been, but there was no Photoshop, no AI back then, so you just gotta weigh it for yourself, like, what is credible to you. I mean, in my opinion. So, yeah, the videos, I see that they are definitely reacting to things that are happening right now. But I wanted to talk about something else. There's a channel called Players Unlimited, I believe, and it's like an alternative news channel on YouTube, and they're really reporting a lot about Trump's trials and his behavior in the trials. But these trials are like talking about he's almost about to walk, like they're about to drag him off to prison, and a lot of his his cabinet members and like Pam Bondi, they have these videos where the title card is saying they're arrested, they're going to jail, and then you watch the video, or I watched the video, and as far as reporting, it seems like it's pretty good. The scripting, whatever the producer, is pretty well done. They have this weird intonation. There's a couple of brothers that are black, and it's particularly the younger one with the glasses that has this weird robotic intonation, which he every once in a while will have like a blip, you know, like a flicker of reality. But other than that, you're just like, what are you talking like that for real? Because you sound like a robot. It might be a stylistic choice, but then they started showing. Well, first, the next person I saw after the two brothers was someone that I used to see on, like Rebel HQ or the Damage Report on the TYT network. She might have been network wide on that channel, but I only watch certain shows because I only like certain shows. She was one of the ones I liked, though. She is a lawyer in real life, and I guess also a broadcaster. So she went away, which they often do. Like, I'm sure there are contracts, and then people are there as hosts for however long at TYT, the Young Turks, and so she was there for a while, and then she was gone, and that happens. Like, sometimes, like, one person that appears, or a couple are comedians, and then, like, they go do their comedian thing and tour, but when they're in town, they are hosts on the show and whatever. So this person, Ravana, was on TYT for a while, or on the Damage Report, or Rebel HQ, and so those are shows on the TYT network, and she all of a sudden was on this Players Unlimited channel, and I was like, oh, okay, so she's reporting a news story, and they have a system. They'll report the story, and they'll break it down really well into very digestible bits, and nothing that I'm seeing is like making alarm bells go off like, this is wrong. I feel like there is some of the best reporting I'm seeing, actually, because they take the time. You know, they'll talk about something for a while, and then they'll stop and break down what they just said, and I'm like, didn't you just break it down? Like, that's how good the reporting is. Again, in my opinion. But even Ravana had that weird inflection, that intonation, and I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. My thing is it could be AI, but like I said, like, sometimes the voices will deviate and not just be so monotone. The young man that wears glasses, you can see the ring light reflection in his camera, and you can only see them from, well, you can see them like a little bit further down, but not much. It's different background, but very much sort of the same placement of the host as you see right here. So, you can't see if they have more fingers than they should, or if there's a phantom arm, reaching around from behind them or whatever. That's like markers of, obvious markers of AI. And then there are other things like the weird snowfall or ashes or whatever that is. So anyway, and then there's like another person that's like a white guy, a white man, and he also has that weird same inflection, but he deviates a little bit from it too. And so I don't know if it's AI or not. It's just weird that there's one actual person that I know is an actual person, or that I recognize on there, and I can't tell if she's real or not. But the news seems real. The news seems to be following more along what I can hear from the ET videos than I can from any news video, broadcast or otherwise. Like I said, unless I go looking for like QAnon stuff, I'm probably not going to hear about these things, which is weird because we're talking about the president and he's getting indicted again and again and again and again, but impeachments are happening again, and I'm like, why are we bothering with that? Why not just go directly to criminal trials? But maybe that's some sort of political infrastructure that was set up for these kind of situations back a long time ago, I would think. But I think if it's back as far as I'm thinking, they probably weren't even thinking about. I mean, they tried to set it up so that this couldn't happen, but it was like an honor system. Like, the people have to like enforce it and stop the person from doing way before the guy we have now got doing what he's doing that he shouldn't be doing, in my opinion. So, I mean, I have like a strong reaction. Like, I don't think he should be there. It's upsetting. I think he's dishonest. I think he's small. I think he's mean. He should not be in charge of other people, and certainly not a country. Not with that attitude, in my opinion. Like, you can't do what he's doing. I know that he's doing it, and he's trying to do it. He's trying to, like, make it a thing. But you can't just have a country where, for instance, the Democrats are bad, so you're just going to eliminate them entirely, like every one of those people, until they are no longer in existence? Is that what you're saying? The secretary, who I'm sure did not have a discussion with him about it, at least not what she was saying, which was, no, he's not going to do it. They don't know his people. He's so spontaneous. For instance, Zohra Mamdani, who is the mayor-elect of New York, was at the White House to meet with the president, and the president just loved him, and people are so blown away by it. And I'm like, why? he likes guys like Mamdani. He does. I mean, he just, what was it, like the day before, he had the prince from Saudi Arabia in there. He likes guys like Mamdani. What's the big, you didn't notice? Like, what's the big deal? And yes, he said a bunch of things. You think Mamdani don't know that? He knows who he was dealing with. So, yeah. Everything seemed fine. Nobody seemed alarmed. No screaming president. No being dragged out of court by marshals like these videos are talking about. But at the same time, even more things from going way back seem to be happening that I did hear from, like, QAnons, like arrests and tribunals and things going on. And you also, and this I'm hearing from, like, Anonymous, right? But also from the ETs. But from the point of view that Anonymous is telling it, not QAnon, Anonymous is that they're fearful of what's happening as far as how it's going to affect the American people. Conversely, but also similarly, the ETs seem to be talking about the same thing, but they're talking about reasoning with people, and, like, this is why you're seeing so many people quit, because maybe they're not going to jail, maybe they're, like, giving up information on other people or things they know and being released on that basis. Like, I'm just not real sure exactly, because I had to stop watching the ET videos. I think my head was just getting too full of stuff, like too much information. And the other, it's fear. It's very fearful. It's like anger too, but it's more like they've already kind of given in to everything just going wrong. And I came across a video about Toth the other night about meditating before sleep. Maybe I'll link it. Probably not, though, but I'm mentioning it because something they said in there really stuck with me, because it's instrumental to how to deal with what I'm talking about. So what it said is like, when you have an event that you would just, right off the bat categorize as like bad because it's like a misfortune for you, Thoth says in the video to just try and take a moment and don't be scared or not scared, but just try to look at what is happening without bias and look at the situation in such a way that you can say, okay, this is how it is. It makes me feel this or that way, but I don't have to let it rule me. I don't have to let that define how I'm going to behave. And you can also continue to view what you would be normally inclined to think of as bad as something that you can, get something out of positive. So this is not a new concept for me to talk about. I talk about it a lot, but it's always I always like having another voice come out and also say the same thing. But what really stuck with me was that the narrator sounded male. It was also AI. But the narrator was male, so I'm just going to go with he. So he kept saying that rather than sit in the fear or the panic and let it take you over, I don't know, get what it is, feel what's going on with it, and then move on to the next part where you're like, okay, and now what? It's like a yes and situation. But he referred to it as sliding it over, excuse me, if you've ever seen a soundboard, they have those levers, little tabs you can push up and down, and there's a numbered scale that is next to the slot the tab is in. So you can slide the gain up or down. Do I want more or less of this feeling of terror? Or can I take okay, yes, I have a feeling of terror. And now what else? Flip the script, make the fear afraid, however you got to categorize it. But it just made me feel like you have more options than you're inclined to normally give yourself. And so I had been thinking, I'm just going to leap to a whole new subject. I have had a lot of ideas and information coming in, and even that was overwhelming. I have written down notes, a thought came by, let me write that down so I won't forget later. But I really haven't been trying to crank out some essay every day, because you know why? I'm not getting any money for what I do. I'm not relying on what I write to support my living yet. But I'm not I have buy me a coffee up on my site, but I didn't get the link on there correctly. It's just written so you could go there. But if you go there to the website or to the app or whatever, I don't have any posts on there because every time I tried to post, it wouldn't let me post. So I don't know. I can't even figure out how to earn. And I don't need it right now, which is good. I mean, it would be nice, but I'm not dying for money. Anyway, I did hang on to one thing and write a, for me, fairly short piece that I would like to share with you. Give me a second here and let me find it and get situated. Okay. Veils. I guess I gotta get closer. I need more light if I put that there. Hold on. Now the light's gonna get crappy. Well, I guess it's not that bad. That's probably worse. Okay. Veils. In one of my Oracle card decks for divination, the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, there's a card that reads, Repairing the Veil. This is the card. I was thinking a lot about veils, and then of course, well, it wouldn't be of course for you, it's of course for me because I have the deck with the card in it. So, okay, you're just... Ah, I am so sorry. Didn't mean to flop you off for Poot's sake. Okay, so... Get out of there. Okay, is that better? So you can see, whoops, the veil seems to be the sky from floor to ceiling, so to speak, there in the background, and it's kind of an unreal looking setting. Notice though that there seems to be a tree, and this is definitely outside stuff, but what? What? How did it... We're not going to focus on why the veil is torn. Although it could be a combination of a lot of the stuff that I was talking about. Like, maybe you didn't take a week off in time, and this is what started to happen to your reality because you were overstimulated and you just couldn't handle all of that. But I was thinking about this card. It seems like the stuff about veils that was coming in, like to my notice, was separate. And I thought I think I better like talk about this or something. I better scribe on it. Okay, let me get back to it. So, the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck card, which I just showed you. There's a card that reads Repairing the Veil. The illustration on it, among other things, shows something like curtains, like the curtains you might see on a theatrical stage. But they aren't. Or it isn't. Rather, it's an enormous singular drape that's been torn asunder, literally. Split up the center, comma, oh, you don't need the comma. Split up the center under repair. Stitched with fat laces ribbon, actually, threaded through eyelets like those on a sneaker. A homemade sneaker, but eyelets, ribbon, laced. Ooh, I don't want to lose that. It looks to have been hastily but efficiently thrown up damage control. Efficiently but hastily thrown up damage control. There seems to be a feeling of urgency that this trad metaphor for a barrier. There seems to be a feeling of urgency that this trad metaphor for a barrier, it seems to possess the repair is what I guess, because it doesn't seem like I was able to get that across. The repair seems to be like quick. Just grab anything that's on hand that might work, because we can't just let that, be apart. We gotta put it back together. We gotta repair it. Which in metaphysics, I've always understood it to be. Oh, I see what the problem is. I have something there that I thought was a period. There is not one there. So, there seems to be a feeling of urgency that this trad metaphor for a barrier, which in metaphysics I've always understood it to be. Not an immovable one, in my perception, as it can be easily swiped aside with the metaphorical arm. Why didn't I write arm? Sorry, I know this always happens. Okay, oh, a metaphorical sweep of the arm. In my head, right? It's a barrier, but not one that I don't feel like in my mind can't be swept aside as easily as that, is my point. I recently had an added factor of consideration of that perception. I recently had an added factor of consideration. Oh, it should be to that perception. I thought of as a barrier, or I thought of it as a barrier between us and spirit, or the spirit world. The world of people who have crossed to the other side. A world of misty, disincarnate beings. On other occasions, I felt it to be the barrier separating us from illicit matters. The kind of shameful things, crimeful things your electeds or corporate interventionists conceal. Acts that are harmful to their constituents and consumers that they go ahead and do, sometimes hand in hand, in full knowledge that they will harm the two aforementioned, the constituents and the consumers. Because profits are more important than people, even though they are the people who generated the profits but receive little to no cut of. Okay, I knew the part I left out. Why did I leave it out? I knew it immediately when I came to it. Even though they perform the work those owners lay claim to, the veil as concealment. The new perspective placed the veil in a new position, one that only separates that one piece of missing info, that vital piece that you don't yet get. You don't get it yet. That if you had, oops, it would be the answer if you'd gotten it. Oh, okay, gosh, I'm just doing so terrible. That vital piece that you don't yet get, that if you had, it would answer, give clarity to something you needed to know. The veil that lies between, I haven't learned of it yet. Well, you could almost call that veil, I haven't learned of it yet. Like, that's the thing in between you and that piece of information, is what I'm trying to get at. That idea is so much different than the other kind of veil. That implies the veil is or can be part of us, inside of us even, acting as a protective barrier. I'm not transcripting right now. As a protective barrier, a function of our intake system, there to prevent the release or intake of too much too quickly. Protection from overload, a gauge there to regulate safely exactly what we're mentally and physically able to accept, to take on without injury. We can get too far out over our skis and overconfident and maybe whatever that thing is inside of us that tries and sometimes succeeds at restraining us from activities we're not ready for. Perhaps, thought I was going to sneeze, perhaps because this inner veil is retaining some crucial bit of data that when it deems you're ready will provide us with the competitive edge, to stay with the skiing metaphor. There are other veils, as I mentioned, and they no longer seem so impenetrable. Now, for me, there's like all these periods that shouldn't be there. I think I do occasionally have physical spasms. I think that's what happens. There's like a smear on my glasses or on my eye or something. Where was I? So yeah, there are other veils, as I mentioned, and they no longer seem so impenetrable now for me. They represent a barrier to protect us from harm. The harm of knowing too much too soon. A structure, it seems, we ourselves erect that occurs often enough that a lot of people know about it. Maybe this is because it may take us all collectively to put a large scale one up. Like the one we all seem to know is between life and death. Could it be that the material between us and all of the deceased ancestors and the other unexplained phenomena we've designated as paranormal? Oh, I guess I should have a question mark there. Could it be a mix of fear and the fear of what we hold back compromising our sanity? Intellectually, it makes a kind of sense that a buildup of fears could constitute a barrier of got to cross my F. Barrier of rational and not fears. It speaks of an intelligence to our subconscious, another guard against our coming face to face with those realities we're not yet prepared to come face to face with. To become cognizant of the nature of a veil in whatever form they arise in feels like another step closer to the very thing we reach for, each failure to grasp. No failure, but in truth, a win. And that last bit about a failure not being a failure but a win, kind of makes me think again of that level, like sliding the level of what you're feeling, away from like the really non-productive fear, anger, darker sort of lower vibrational behavior, and then being cognizant of the fact that you don't have to be like, you could just decide that you don't want to feel that way anymore. And that's how I quit drinking. I didn't want to wake up feeling hungover anymore. Like, I just didn't want to have my whole day ruined, just nip it in the bud. That's what I decided to do. So yeah, things are not as intimidating when you realize, like, well, I do have like kind of all of these safety nets, all these veils as safety nets, or protective barriers, and so you can feel a little bit more confident about whatever going out in the world. So I guess that's it, with the barriers that I wanted to say. I did pull a card from the Declarations of Mary Magdalene deck, and this is a good one. We generate our vibration within our heart center to share with the world as one. That was not like so mind-blowing a thing We generate our vibration within our heart center to share with the world as one. Okay, let's take that back to a veil situation. What about the veil between life and death, and like all the other stuff that is scary and unusual to us that we call paranormal? Like, I feel like it's all part of the same thing. So I put it behind the veil together. And so, with like the multitudes of us having a sort of fear of this other side of the veil and what lies there and the unknown nature of it scaring us for some reason, fear can be a barrier all on its own. Like, I don't want to go there because I'm afraid to. I don't want to do that because I'm afraid to. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get in a plane because I'm afraid to. If there's the whole bunch of us, loads and loads, billions and billions, and if we're all thinking the same thing, that's gonna create something. It's called co-creation, and that's how events come into being. Like, that's how societies change, is when there's a plurality, a collective of people that all want the same thing. It's like voting, except different, because you don't have to show up and go through all the voting hoops. You just decide, and that's it. It opens up doors to, like, oh my gosh, I don't have to be over there in the fear column feeling all bad, and good grief, it gets old. And to know that, you have the autonomy to just, you don't even have to drag yourself out of it. Like, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. It's what you make of it. For me, it's like, it would be so easy to just move the slider bar over and, like, woo, feel better. You can do that. There's nothing that says you can't, except for the voice in your head. Like, you don't have to pay attention to other people saying you can't do that. They can say it all they want. You make the decisions, ultimately. That's just the truth. Nothing woo-woo about it. It's just reality. Anyway, hi. I'm back. Thank you and good night.